So I decided to play Perfect World International to try it out. I have never played it before, and to be honest, I didn't even know it existed till I learned of Perfect New World, which is an MMO I covered that's the updated version of this game. So I decided to see if it's worth playing it in 2024. But before I do, let's talk about what is Perfect World International. For those that don't know, Perfect World International is a massively multiplayer online role-playing game that's based off Chinese mythology and history, set in the land of Pengu. And no, it's not an island filled with penguins. Now, players of Perfect World must unite to battle against the Wraith, who are undead creatures who seek to destroy all of creation. Now, PWI was developed and published by Perfect World Games. It was first released as an open beta on September 2nd, 2008 in the West, but was released in China on July of 2005. Oh, by the way, the land of Pengu is basically the body of a hairy dead dude. Don't believe me? Look it up. Alright, let's move on to the races and classes of PWI. So Perfect World International has 6 different races and 15 different classes, but these seem to be more like 6 different factions. Those races/factions are the Human, Untamed, Winged, Tideborn, Earthguard, and Nightshade. And of course, since you know this is an Asian MMO, some of the classes are locked behind gender, and in this case they're also locked behind the race/faction. So the Humans can be the Blade Master, Wizard, and Technician. The Untamed can be the Barbarian, Wildwalker, which is apparently their newest class, and the Venomancer. The Wing can be the Edge Runner, Cleric, and Archer. Tideborn can be the Psychic and Assassin. The Earthguard can be the Seeker and Mystic. And the last one, the Nightshade, can be the Duskblade and Stormbringer. Now, for whatever reason, whenever I would select the Earthguard and his animation ended, it would freeze my game. Now, I could still hear myself clicking around, but the image would stay frozen, and I would need to relaunch in order to fix it. I checked it multiple times, and it froze every time I did. Anyways, the class that I decided to go with was the Mystic, mainly because I wanted to play a mage-like class, and she also had some great assets. Yes, I know there was a class that was literally called Wizard, which would probably be closer to a mage than a mystic, but she was playing a fucking instrument. And what kind of wizard plays a goojang to cast spells anyways? Yeah, exactly. A fucking fake-ass wizard would. Alright, let's talk about the character creator. Now, I had no idea what the character creator was going to be like in this game. All I knew was that you can give your character some massive boobs from some pictures that I saw. But at the same time, I did not know if those pictures were from a mod that someone used in order to be able to make them that big, or if it was actually in the character creator. Well, I found out that it was in fact in the character creator, but I also found out that you can really manipulate the way your character looks, which really surprised me for a game that's this old. You can mess with pretty much every part of a character's body and decide how much you want to stretch and in which direction. You can have a big ass head with a giant forehead and chin. You can have huge arms with pencil thin waist and giant grippers. You can even separate the face skin color from the body skin color. This character creator for me was one of the best character creators I have ran into for a game that's this old. Hell, this character creator shames most modern MMO character creators now. I, of course, made my character into a goddess, so of course I had to name her in a way that would reflect her beauty.
Wow! Beautiful!
Now, before I talk about my experience with the game, let's talk about the combat real quick. The combat in Perfect World International is, of course, tab targeting, and in my opinion, the combat is not that great. It is very flashy, but it does not feel very good. One of the main reasons for that is the delay when using spells, and the rooting that happens after. You see, when you use an ability, your character is left stuck in place for a short but noticeable while. Now, there's also a weird delay when trying to use the same ability you just casted, even though it's no longer on cooldown. You also can't move while auto-attacking. Now, I know you may be thinking, it's an old school MMO, what do you expect? But WoW's combat was not like that. You can auto-attack while moving in classic WoW. After you cast a spell, you're immediately able to move. It also does not feel like you're rooted to the ground for a split second like in this game. Now, the combat is not the worst when it comes to old school MMO combat, but the combat is just passable at best in my opinion. Alright, now on to my experience with playing the game. Now, the first thing I saw when I got into the game was a daily login screen, as well as some daily and weekly quest stuff for more rewards. After I closed it, I heard a noise that sounded like an animal being choked to death. I have no idea what it was, but I'm assuming it was this fucking rabbit, so I killed it. Now, one of the first things I noticed was how you're able to jump pretty damn high. And I will say that it does look a bit ridiculous, but I'm sure the way my character looks enhances that ridiculousness. Now, they did give me a mount early. Unfortunately, it was someone's retarded looking dead cat that they taxidermied, just so I can ride on it. Poor Mr. Mans. Now, the quests are very simple. Kill X amount, get me these items, X amount, kill the big bad boss in this area, talk to this guy in the village far away from here, and come back to turn it in for XP and silver and sometimes gear. What I do like is I never ran into a quest that had you doing the same quest over and over, where the only difference is the amount of mobs you had to kill. You know the classic grindy MMO quest where they have you kill an animal into extinction by having you kill 10 tigers, then 25, then 50, then 100. I'm talking about you, Silk Road Online. Now, I do like that if a quest requires you to get an item, you're pretty much guaranteed to get it, unlike WoW. Because apparently not all mobs in WoW that have ears and teeth have ears and teeth. Now, I basically just mindlessly quested for a while. The autopathing this game had made it a lot easier to get quests done, which I like since I'm not about to read to find the location of a mob I need to kill. I also did not use the mount because it literally felt slower than walking. Now, my first hiccup when questing was when I jumped off a platform where the quest giver was, and I had no idea how to get back up there to turn in the quest after I completed it. Now, a normal person would probably look for a logical way of getting there by looking through the quest or UI or even NPC that may take them up there. Nope, not me. I decided that instead of that, I would parkour up these rocks. So I reached a high enough point to be able to jump off these rocks and land on the floating platforms. This took me a couple of tries because one of those tries made me glitch backwards as I jumped, so I ended up missing the platform. Now, after I did more quests, I accidentally realized that I had these flying wing things, and all I had to do was hit F4 in order to summon them. Again, I'm not very smart, but I am special. My mom tells me that all the time, and so do my friends. But they say it weird since they always end it with Ed. Anyways, I also ended up doing what I thought was a dungeon, but I later found out that it wasn't really a dungeon at all. So me clearing it and killing the retarded looking humanoid fox boss was a waste of time, since the only thing I really got from it was a boner from this NPC moaning at me. Actually, I did get something, because this was the place I discovered that there are stat points I needed to allocate. So I dumped them all into my MP, which made clearing this place so much easier. Now I eventually finished a quest in the starting zone and was teleported to a town, which then I noticed a bunch of cats and lighters hanging around. I was very confused when I saw this. Then I realized that these are player shop stalls, where players can turn themselves into a stall in order to sell their goods. But as far as I know, this game does have an auction house. So I didn't think people needed to do this. But after I checked the auction house, it was empty as fuck. So there must be a reason for why people aren't using it. Now, after discovering the stalls, I ran into a dude with an AK-47. The dude said, "Fuck the swords, I got a gun." Motherfucker is probably an anime protagonist that was sent here after getting ran over by a truck and was given a powerful AK that never runs out of bullets. The dude's probably one-shotting dragons with that shit while collecting big titty waifus. Anyways, I digress. While I was flying around, I noticed a group of nerds, players, lined up on the side of a path while mounted. Turns out they were all in the same guild. I didn't notice any of them talking in chat, so I assumed they might be on TeamSpeak, and this might be a contest on who spent the most money on a store mount. And I eventually just left to continue questing. While questing, I accidentally clicked on an item in my inventory, and that turned me into an ugly-ass humanoid fox from that dungeon that's not a dungeon that I did. Now, I could not for the life of me figure out how to take off the anorexic crackhead fox suit, so I had to finish the questing meleeing the mobs, because I couldn't cast spells while looking like a giant humanoid fox rat that's built like Asmongold. Luckily, I eventually went back to normal. I'm assuming it was on a timer and it just expired. Now, after questing for a good while, I ended up in a dungeon at around level 46. Unfortunately, I couldn't do the quest since you had to be level 39 and under for that. But even though I out-leveled the dungeon, I still couldn't do it, since it was just me, myself, and I there. But I did still try to do it. It just didn't end well. I pretty much got my ass beat and died. Then I got teleported into the nearby town. That's when I saw this girl doing some levitation magic, and I wanted to get a closer look in order to see how she's doing it. Took me a while to figure it out, but I eventually did. I just had to concentrate and get a real good sniff. Look. Now, after failing the dungeon and going to a fish market, I continued questing. That's when I eventually got stuck on the main quest that asked you to kill a mob. That mob was a bitch. You see, the quest tells you to get help from people around you to kill the mob. But this game is pretty much dead when it comes to players questing. So there wasn't really anyone around me to ask for help. Luckily, I did end up killing him after dying many times and changing my strategy on how I would fight him. Now after that, the main quest pretty much immediately sent me to kill another ridiculously strong mob. But luckily for me, he was melee. And I just had my plants that I could summon do damage as I ran in a circle around them. It did take a bit, but he eventually died. The quests were starting to get a bit repetitive. I mean, it's not like they weren't to begin with, but at this point I started to notice the repetitiveness more and more. The main quest kept sending me to kill stronger and stronger boss mobs, so it eventually sent me to one that would literally one-shot me. Luckily for me, a random big boy player was around and they helped me kill it. After it was dead, I flew off to turn it in. That's when I discovered this thing called Meridians. Mayonnaise. Man, anyways. Apparently using your Marberidians is another way you make your character stronger. You just have to click on a random dot till you unlock it. But you need to use a pill thing. I had over 100 of these pills. I apparently got them from questing and probably other stuff that I was not paying attention about. Now after I used them all up and got stronger, I quit the game. I mean, I didn't quit right away. I kept trying to level, but at this point I found it harder and harder to want to level. So I eventually just logged off and never logged on again. Maybe if I was as geared as this level 35 that's wearing level 10 gear that you need to be level 85 to wear, then I probably would still be playing it. How was he wearing that gear at this level? The world may never know. Look, I mainly wanted to play this to sort of compare what the difference are between Perfect New World and Perfect World International. But I eventually decided to turn it into a should you play this game in 2024 type of video. Alright, let's move on. Is Perfect World International pay to win? Yeah, it is. Now I know I didn't reach the end game to experience it myself, but I have looked into it, and it does scream pay to win. Now I can't say that it's a heavy pay to win game, but it still has other items in the cash shop that will help you over other players. Like XP scrolls, mats to help you craft high level gear. There's a starter pack for 25 bucks that will give you a bunch of useful things like XP buffs, teleporters, and war avatars. War avatars are cards that will give your character bonus stats. You can also buy an item that makes your flyer, aka flying mount, faster. Now I'm sure there is more pay to win items in the shop that I didn't notice, mainly due to not knowing what they do. Now there's also the gold exchange where you can trade in-game gold for store gold. So based off those things, you can't say that this game is not pay to win. Oh yeah, there's also a battle pass, but I have no idea what most of that stuff in the battle pass does. But let's be honest here, it's probably things to help your character get stronger. Oh, I almost forgot to mention the most pay to win items in this game. Mounts and outfits, because we all know the cooler you look, the more hitting damage you do. Now after experiencing how slow traveling is in this game, it showed me how important it is to have a fast flyer or a mount. Hell, my mount was so slow I didn't even use it. The only time I used my flyer was to AFK autopath from location to location, because I'm not about to spend 50 bucks for a teleport bell that'll allow me to get to my destination faster. Now the mounts in this game are expensive, and you must either love burning your mom's money or your mom is super rich in order for you to justify swiping her credit card for that $90 mount. Now I ain't gonna lie, the Crescent Moon mount looks cool as shit, but no MMO mount in my opinion is worth 90 bucks. Now there's obviously cheaper mounts, but on the bright side, the outfits aren't so expensive. I can get this sweet dress that shoots fireworks from the back of my elephant feet for only 8 bucks. Or even this street outfit that spits facts and makes me look like a Mexican chola for $18. I can even buy a ballerina dress for 8 bucks. Damn, don't I look sexy?
Fuck me. I'd fuck me. I'd fuck me hard.
By the way, the outfits aren't really pay to win. I also just wanted to rant about how expensive the cool mounts were that I was never going to buy to begin with. Anyways, let's wrap this bitch up. So in conclusion, should you play Perfect World International? I think you should, but only if you like old school MMOs and the way they look and feel, because other than that, I don't see much that will keep you wanting to play and level. Now I know I didn't do any of the end game content, even though I did try to get to that point. But my enjoyment of the game pretty much hit rock bottom by level 62, and it was due to the questing pretty much being the same all the damn time, and the class I was playing not being that fun. Now I know this is an old school game, so having people do similar quests over and over is pretty much expected, but the game does not do a good job in making me want to stay. Everything in this game seems way too expensive, with stuff being sold in the millions of gold. Even the stuff from a vendor seem out of my reach. Hell, red scrolls are 50k silver and potions are 45k silver for the good ones. And those items you would expect to be cheaper so that lower players can afford them. It would take me a good amount of grinding mobs just to earn 50k silver just to be able to buy one red scroll. The game does not do a great job at keeping you excited to keep playing. Now, this game has a lot of mounts and outfits. When I say a lot, I mean a lot. The mounts in this game are some of the most unique mounts I have seen in any MMO. Now you might be thinking that sounds like a pretty good reason to play the game. Well, only if you plan on spending real money for them, I guess. But don't expect the game to give you cool outfits and mounts. I mean, they kind of did give me one of each of those things, a mount and an outfit, but I couldn't get them since I needed 100k silver each to be able to receive them, which in my opinion is dumb as fuck. Like, I'm already not enjoying the game at this point, so it would be better to give a person a gift that they can actually open and not a gift that's locked behind a grind. Now, I know you may be thinking that I'm a greedy person for wanting free shit, and you would be right. I want some free shit. There's a reason why modern MMOs have so many click me for free shit buttons, because they actually work and it helps to keep players longer. They really try their best to make players want to log in every day. Perfect World does not do that. So again, in my opinion, you won't really enjoy it unless you like old school MMOs. If you do, then give this game a try. You will probably like it. Now that being said, I think I would have actually loved this game when it first launched, but my tastes have changed since 2008 when this was released. Now, if I got some information wrong, feel free to get mad at me in the comment section or correct any wrong information given. I mainly just play the game and didn't do much research. Well, hope you liked the video. If you did, please comment, like, and subscribe. It helps me out a lot. Till next time, peace.